Hey folks, Captain Mike here from Hoagie Lure Company. You know, I just want to talk about a shoot we recently did with Salty Cape TV. A full feature-length episode you can check out here on deep jigging for sea bass in the peak hot days of the summer. Now, in this particular shoot, the challenge was holding bottom in about 90 feet of water with a fast drift, maybe a little bit of wind and tide together combination. Now the strategy was targeting deep structure in cooler water, making productive drifts, keeping the jig in the zone, and fishing our way to some great sea bass. When the bite was over, well, we just pick up, make another move. Well, let's check it out and roll the tape. So the technique today is going to be a slow jigging style with the groundfish jig and the teasers down on the bottom. We're in 99 feet of water, so that means we're going to be using a heavy jig. Here I have the 8.5 ounce Squino jig, you know, again enhanced with the Jig Beaky teasers, targeting a mix of inshore groundfish. You know, we know at this spot it could be any mix of well, hopefully larger fish, but you know, large scup, large sea bass, and if you get lucky here, sometimes you can get a fluke. But sea bass is on the menu, and that's the target, and we'll take anything else that's tasty along the way, and that's the game plan. So I'm holding bottom. We have the wind against the tide here, but there's still a fair amount of moving current. And so what I'm going to do is slow jig this jig, bouncing it on the bottom, putting it on the bottom, lifting the tip of the rod, and then letting it sink down. This is a Squino jig. It's designed with a rounded belly and a low center of gravity. So every time I lift that jig up with the rod tip in a big, long, slow jigging motion, that lure is going to have a nice, nice drop. And then you have the two little beaky teasers above it, creating a whole little food chain here. And you know, a lot of folks associate inshore ground fishing with bait, but not me. I like a neat boat. You know, I like the ability to pick up a couple ground fish on the way home from a striper trip or a tuna trip. So I have this little system, and a slow jig like this is all you need to do to catch fluke, sea bass, and scup. And today's no different. Just had a hit. We're drifting into the hot zone now. Lift my rod, pause it. Now I'm doing big, long, slow jigs like this, but every once in a while, I'm just gonna let this stop, sit on the bottom, and fish it like bait for a minute. Lift and drop. Now you'll notice that I'm periodically paying line out. That's to keep up with the drift. As we drift further and further, the lure's getting further and further away from the boat, and it's gonna lift it up off the bottom. So if I'm just gonna constantly pay line out, I want a vertical presentation with the vertical jig. If I have too much scope, I'm just going to reel it in, get it close to the boat, then I'm going to send it right back down to the bottom. Now what I did there is I went just above the money spot, drift in, and now we're in the zone. So I'm going to stop yapping and start catching fish. You know it's a good fish when it bends the 7-foot Hogy Hybrid inshore offshore spinning rod in half. Feels like a big sea bass, lots of head shakes. Could be multiples, it's hard to tell. Oh, nice fish. Came in on the teaser. And that is what we're looking for right there.